If you like money and fantasy football, you're going to love this free offer to make money with DraftStreet.com. In fact, you've got a chance to win my money because I'm running a $300 league today where the top 7 finish in the money. Hi guys, Al DeMarco here, and today you'll be competing against my team and amongst yourselves to win my money. Fantasy sports have changed over the years, making them more lucrative. No more waiting to get paid at the end of the season. With DraftStreet.com, you get instant gratification. Here's the deal. Go to DraftStreet.com right now. Enter this code, DeMarco, my last name. That's going to get you access to my league today. Entry costs absolutely nothing. It's free to play for a shot at winning my money. You have a $100,000 salary cap to draft your team. You've got until the 1 p.m. Eastern Time kickoffs to set your roster, and the winners will be determined when the Monday night game is over. Remember, the top 7 finish in the money with my $300 at stake. Go to DraftStreet.com, use the passcode DeMarco, build your team now. Welcome back, everyone, to the Countdown to Kickoff show. The final segment coming up. We're going to run down the final 4 games on the card, finishing up with Baltimore and San Diego, your Sunday night game. Al DeMarco along with Steve Budin. And guys, I've got to be honest with you, I am embarrassed because for 2 straight weeks, this man has kicked my you-know-what in fantasy football. And believe me, that's few and far between. It doesn't happen that often, but I'm embarrassed nonetheless. Listen, guys, you just saw the commercial, and let me just explain to you again. We are running a contest with DraftStreet.com where if you go to the site, either via our website, clicking on the ads that say $300 free contest sponsored by Al DeMarco, or you go to DraftStreet.com directly and enter my last name, DeMarco, it will enter you into a free fantasy football contest where the top 7 finishers finish in the money, and it's $300 of my money at stake. And Steve, I think the thing that we have to make sure that everybody understands, this is not old school fantasy football like they're used to.
Right, the fantasy football that me and you grew up on would take the entire year. And let's be honest, if you're a gambler out there and you love action, there's no way you want to wait an entire year to figure out if you won or lost. Well, this with DraftStreet.com, it's weekly. So on Sunday before the 1 o'clock game, you enter in all your information. By Monday night, as soon as that game is finished, they've already got all the winners posted on the site, and you can go ahead and take down your money. To me, that's what makes it exciting. That's why we're seeing the explosion. And that's why we've been talking about it all season long.
And it's instant gratification, guys. Totally legal because it's a game of skill. It takes you less than 5-10 minutes to put together your team as well. You get a $100,000 bankroll. You've got to draft a couple quarterbacks, couple running backs, couple wide receivers, a tight end, etc. You've got till 1 o'clock Eastern Time today's games, as Steve mentioned, to put your lineup together. And let me give him props.
Yes.
Steve, last week, 10th place after finishing in 4th place a week ago.
And that's on 300 entries.
Yeah.
So, I little disclosure, I've actually went ahead and enlisted the help of some, professional fantasy football players, just like I do when I make my picks, because I just couldn't keep coming in 200th and live to tell about it. It's not nice.
And congratulations going out to the username Mad Dog Romeo, 172.5 points last week, winning first place. Mike M 749. Finishing about 3 points back. So it was a heck of a close race. I, of course, finished in 71st place. We won't talk about that. But anyway, again, DraftStreet.com, my last name, DeMarco. Enter the contest. It's free. If you entered previously, you can do it again, guys. It's my money at stake. I'm not complaining. $300 of my money. Top 7 finish in the money. So check it out at DraftStreet.com. Now, let's pick it up with Houston and Carolina. I was all over Houston last week. I liked Houston, and they got the job done against Cincinnati, but it was a game, of course, they had to come back to win in dramatic fashion with the rookie quarterback Yates getting the job done. Now they're back at home against a Carolina team that coughed up a 23-7 halftime lead at home against Atlanta and blew that game, letting the Falcons come back and cover. I think the dynamics of this game lead toward Houston because this injury-riddled Carolina defense that is so susceptible to being run on, I think Foster and Tate are just going to run up the yards big time.
Yeah, and 2 more interceptions for Cam Newton. He's now at like 17 on the season. And you talk about a Tim Tebow doing the little things and surviving on the little things, and then you have a talent like Cam Newton who's not doing the little things, and we're seeing it come back to bite them. I'd agree with you. I was not a T.J. Yates fan going into this whole scenario, but the way he's played has been remarkable considering the circumstances. I like Houston here, coming home, showing their fans a little something. I'm going to lay the 6 6.5 points here with Houston.
Hey, and Houston's won and covered 7 in a row. They got Wade Phillips, a veteran defensive coordinator that's going to totally confuse Cam Newton with all the schemes he's going to throw at him. And the Panthers' defense has given up an average of like 31 points their last 4 games.
And it's 7 straight wins and covers. It's not like they've been helped by the points. They're winning these games and they're covering them.
Exactly. Detroit and Oakland. Oakland, of course, coming back home after 2 embarrassing losses by a combined 80-30 score to the Packers and the Dolphins on the road. But, you know, that was their 3rd and 4th games on the road in a 5-game stretch. Now they're back at home. I think the dynamic here is that Detroit can't stop the run. Oakland will run the ball with Bush. I like the Raiders to rebound here. We've seen the Lions can do absolutely nothing defensively here of late, and they're giving up almost 31.5 points their last 5 games. So I liked with Oakland in this spot, but I think the public is enamored with Detroit.
And I am the public, so I am enamored with Detroit. In this game, only laying 1 point against an Oakland team that looks dead on arrival to me. Carlson Palmer looks like he's back on the ketamine. Just kidding, Carlson. But at the end of the day, I think Detroit, they're going to come into this game guns blazing. I think they beat Oakland. I'm not paying much attention to the East Coast, West Coast. This game's at 4 o'clock. It'll feel like a 1 o'clock game for Detroit. No problem there. I'm going with the Lions. They get back Suh. I think that's the big deal. I like the Lions.
Okay, we'll agree to disagree on that one. I'm telling you guys, the Raiders are going to win easily.
He's probably right.
Philadelphia and the New York Jets. The Eagles keeping their faint, and I mean faint, playoff hopes alive with a win and cover at Miami last week. Big deal. Now they're back at home where they've dropped 5 of their last 6 games, taking on a Jets team that's starting to round into that late season form like the last couple of years, starting to get the ground game going. And we know one thing, the Eagles cannot stop anybody from running the ball this year. I'm surprised that the Jets are the underdog here because I think the Jets, I'd play them on the money line. They're going to win outright.
And whenever the Eagles win a game, it doesn't matter what they've done the last 5 weeks. Everyone is just so willing and ready to jump back on the Eagles bandwagon. Al and I both had the Eagles last week in Miami. We thought they would rally around Vic. They did. But in this game for the Jets, you have to realize their playoff started 2 weeks ago. So they're already in playoff mode. I think they meet a Philadelphia team that may be packing it in. I like the Jets here. I thought as a bookmaker, this game would be pick'em just based on the line. I see getting 3 points, and I'm all over the Jets.
That's exactly why I said, guys, I would play it on the money line. And listen, the one thing, as I pointed out in last week's show, when the Jets were taking on Kansas City, the one thing the Jets have done consistently well during Rex Ryan's tenure is to beat up losing teams, bad teams, sub-500 teams, going 12-4 against the spread. Mark it down 13-4 after this one. The Sunday night game, you've got Baltimore and San Diego. Talked at the beginning of the show how the Ravens got backdoored last week by the Colts. San Diego suddenly has come to life as they normally do in the second half. They're just many weeks late. 2 blowout wins against 2 lousy opponents.
Blown out teams.
Yeah, Jacksonville and Buffalo. But this is a Baltimore team that went to Seattle earlier this year, got destroyed. A Baltimore team that got embarrassed by Tennessee on the road. They are an inconsistent road team. I just wish I was getting more points with the Chargers. I like San Diego a bit in this game.
And I would agree with you. Even though they didn't play good teams the last 2 weeks, what happens is they get their confidence back now. Phillip Rivers, let's face it, he is an elite quarterback, but he was lacking confidence going back 3 weeks ago. Now I think he comes into this game. I think he's feeling his groove. I think Baltimore, like you said, tough time on the road. They can afford to lose this game. It's not a must-win for Baltimore. I think that also plays into it. I'm going with San Diego here at home, even though I hate North Turner's guts.
Yeah, and listen, Ryan Matthews has gained over 100 yards in 4 straight games. Rivers playing at home. So although this is the Baltimore team that we saw on Thanksgiving dominate San Francisco, this is on the road. As I said, they haven't played well on the highway this year. So I'm going to go with San Diego. I just wish I was getting like 3.5, 4 points rather than just a couple here.
Well, you've been a good boy. Ask Santa. You never know.
Yes. And guys, let us just remind you, if you missed any portion of today's show, you can catch it in its entirety on our website. And also, FYI, I have a daily video report where I break down all your games and give you free picks, money-saving discount coupons, and free trial offers as well. Heck, last Sunday I gave you 2 free winners on the Eagles and a 3-team teaser that cashed easily as well. So check it out online. For Steve Budin, Al DeMarco, this edition of the Countdown to Kickoff is done, and we will catch you again next weekend.